Hey everyone, guess who's back? It's the commish back here with weekly previews for you. It's week 4 and really exciting to get this one started. So let's just get into it. So the first game we have here, who would have thought that this would be for first place in the American come week 4? It's Chris and No More taking on Brandon and the Architect. Both teams 2-1. You could see Brandon 31-25 lifetime. This is clearly their first meeting because, in all honesty, Chris is new to the LOC, just not new to the format. You know, in this one, I originally picked the Architect to win, and I'm going to stick with the Architect to win. And also looking at Co's prediction here, he also has the Architect to win. And I think there's a number of reasons why. So far, when we look at the Architect's team, he's first in points for. I mean, this is a guy that seems to be pretty consistent in terms of his winning track record lately. Saquon Barkley looks healthy. I mean, that's great news for him. You know, I think there has to be some concerns, though, with guys like Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney just really hasn't produced. You know, and again, like when you look at all the injuries this week, it's really tough to look at. And he has guys to look out for, too, and Zay Jones, Farrell Brown. Terms of No More, you know, he has Justice Hill, who John Harbaugh said a lot of good things about this past week. And that's great news as J.K. Dobbins continues to recover. But I just think, again, as Brandon and the Architect, he's got a pretty good IDP and a collection of guys. And I just think the winning track record is going to continue here for Brandon and the Architect. Next up, week 4 tough losses for both teams here last week. It's the Age Crew and Adrian taking on Kristen Storm. Both teams 1-2. You could see Adrian, congratulations, not really, but his 20th career loss in a short time. Well, not short time, but 43 games in. 63-47 for Krista. Lifetime, though, these guys have already played 5 times, if you can believe it. And Krista is 3-2. Lifetime versus the Age Crew. So when I dig into the predictions here right away, Sean originally had the Age Crew losing this one, and whereas myself, I had had Adrian and myself have him winning that one here against Kristen. I'm going to stick to it. So me winning here with Adrian, and for Sean, it's Krista winning on that side. So when I look at it, obviously we saw the game on Thursday and Tua went down, and I think that's obviously going to be damaging for Adrian long term. You know, he's going to have to find a solution at quarterback. I see he does have Jacoby Brissett, but he's not going to be there all year. For Krista, I'm sure she probably, even though she's a Seahawks fan, would have loved to see more from Russell Wilson. Even though he ditched the Seahawks this year. So definitely she has to find ways to get him to win. I think with Krista, though, she has a couple intriguing options there with Marquez Callaway, Traquan Smith, with the news that Michael Thomas will be out, and that could help. And I notice here Adrian at present still has Hunter Renfrow in the lineup, who is now out. So that's going to affect his performance. I'm going to stick to the prediction for myself and go with Adrian, and Co, of course, went with Krista and Storm. Next up, week 4, can the international division stay undefeated? And I think they got a good chance here. So 2 teams that really are struggling. B&L has announced his retirement from the LOC at the end of the year, 0-3. Not sure if that factored into the retirement, looking at his team. Fighting Geese, Susie 1-2. Obviously, she was my preseason pick for myself to win it all. And clearly that might not be the case based on her performance. She is the best, though, in terms of career wins, still at 68-42. Lifetime, these guys have a pretty rich history. Josh is 4-3 up on Susie. Josh, of course, 1 game away from falling to 500 in his illustrious career here in the LOC. When I look at the matchup, so when I look at the predictions here, I have myself picking Susie to win this one against Bare Naked Ladies. And it looks like for Co, he has Bare Naked Ladies winning this one. So again, we're opposite there. Again, when I look at Bare Naked Ladies lineup, I just think it's pretty awful. You got Gary Brightwell and some guy named Horvath running the rock for you as your top two running backs. That's always a recipe for disaster, I feel. Obviously, Madison might get more carries, but it sounds like Delvin Cook's going to be a go in London. So that hurts you. Allen Robinson has grossly underperformed. You made the big trade for Justin Fields. He's throwing about 12 attempts a game, which doesn't help. And on Susie's side, I just think this is the week where Justin Jefferson goes off after 2 mediocre weeks. And I got Susie winning this one easily. Next up, week 4, opposite directions. So 2 divisional opponents here, which of course have played each other for a while. Chris has dominated the matchup, 4-1 lifetime against Billsy Bobs. True North going 3-0. Definitely looks like one of the top teams here. Billsy Bobs just can't seem to get it right. 0-3 is this year. He finally drops a 26-56 career record. He's lost 30 games more than what he's won, which obviously can't be fun to endure. But I know he's trying his best. And, when looking at his team, he's had some underperformers as well. And guys like Austin Eckler, he just has not performed. And, based on my last prediction here with Susie's game of Justin Jefferson going off, True North does have Kirk Cousins. And obviously, if Justin Jefferson goes off, likely Kirk Cousins is as well. I see that Coe has True North to win as his original prediction. I also am going to go with True North to win this one. CeeDee Lamb looks like things are starting to pick up for him, as well as Devontae Smith. Ramondre Stevenson looks like there's a lot of calling for him to be the outright one in New England. And for myself, I think that's going to be enough, clearly, for True North to continue his winning ways against Billsy Bobs. Next up, we got an international showdown. So Ramiro, Young Wolf, solid new owner, 1-2. I think he's done pretty well considering the hand he was given. He did have a fair amount of picks that came there from Ultimus Prime. I know it wasn't that many, but it was a few extras. Always shitty, always seems to surprise. 2-1 for Luke, 46-36 lifetime. That's a pretty solid career record. First meeting between these two, of course, because Young Wolf is a new owner. When we look at this, I originally picked Shitty to win this week, and looking at the he has Young Wolf winning this one. So once again, we're opposite in terms of that regard. I'm going to still stick to the prediction of Shitty winning. I think he just always finds a way to win, even though the roster isn't one that's going to inspire a lot of fear. Derek Carr certainly, I don't think, has lived up to the expectations quite yet. And with Michael Thomas being out, Sammy Watkins to IR for Shitty, things aren't going to get too much easier. I think if he gets one more win, if I was him, I'd almost consider going full sell. But is 3 wins going to be enough is the question you have to ask yourself. And obviously, Young Wolf probably getting excited now that it looks like Michael Gallup is going to start getting some time. I honestly think that Michael Gallup's not going to do much. I think this week, he's only going to play 15% of the snaps, if that. I could be wrong, but I think, again, he's still recovering from a major injury. And with Noah Brown's rise to stardom, I think Gallup's they can wait and be patient with him. And I think it'll be interesting. But opposite predictions, obviously, for me and Cole here should be a good one. Next up, week 4, the red and white basement kind of on the line here. We got Brian in the 12th man at 0-3. Stan and BC Lions at 1-2. Stan's still looking for that elusive 20th career win, whereas Brian's losses just continue to go up, where he's starting to fall with the big guns in terms of career record. Stan, oddly enough, has owned Brian so far. He's 3-1 versus the 12th man, so he's done really well. For myself, I think for BC Lions, of course, we predicted it's going to be a challenge right from the get-go. And looking at it, I picked him to lose this one. And for Cole, he also picked BC Lions to lose this one. So we both have 12th man winning this one. For the 12th man, obviously, Tom Brady's been a huge disappointment, as it definitely looks like he's trending towards the twilight of his career. Cam Akers owners have kind of been giving them headaches all year. starting to show signs of improvement there. For Brian, Devin Duvernay has been the pleasant surprise. I think for a lot of fantasy owners that own him, he's done really well. Stan could very well win this one. He has good keepers. I mean, Stephon Diggs is definitely a top 5 guy. Amari Cooper is getting all the targets, really. Him and I guess you could say maybe Njoku are getting all the targets in Cleveland. And the other big thing working for Stan in this one is Hunter Renfrow is out. So Mac Hollins, who put up huge numbers last week, could very well take Renfrow's job. Who knows? So it could be one that bears watching, and I'm excited to see this one because if Brian falls to 0-4, it's panic mode. Next up, first in red and white on the line. So you got myself taking on Matt and Bill's Mafia, who's 2-1, showing why he made it to the LC. I'm glad he's here. He's a great owner, very competitive. This is obviously our first meeting against one another. I originally had Bill's Mafia to lose this one. And when I look at the code's prediction, he also has Bill's Mafia to lose this one versus myself. I think it's going to be competitive. I tried to block him on the quarterback and then I just dropped him anyway. And here's Andy Dalton is starting. So it's kind of irony. And I have a feeling Andy Dalton's going to get a lot of garbage time points. I think Minnesota is going to kind of blow him out early. And I think the Saints will get some garbage time points. Khalil Herbert is the outright one in Chicago with Montgomery out and could very well become the outright one there if he continues to play the way he did last week. For me, it's all about Josh Allen. Hopefully Josh Allen can continue to build up the big points. I'm definitely not overlooking Bill's Mafia in this one, though. He does have a good roster. I don't care what the projection says, but I do think I'm going to beat him. Next up, week 4, 1-3 awaits for these American owners in the weakest division in the LOC. Both teams 1-2. The American division only putting up 6 wins. Not so great. Sean going in the other way and trying to get that career record to 500. And it seems like Ryan's been stuck on his 60th career win here. Ryan has owned Sean 6-2 lifetime versus the Co. He's dominated him. Of course, I believe Co, as well as me, picked Deuce Bombers to go undefeated. So we still both have Deuce Bombers to win this one. I don't know if that has changed for Co recently. I'm sticking with it. I still think Co's going to win this one, even though DeAndre Swift will be out this weekend against Seattle. It could have been an opportunity to put up some big points for Swift against a weak defense. Should be a good week for Jamal Williams. And that's definitely going to hurt. And he doesn't really have anyone to put in. When I look at his lineup, Hopkins suspended, Green out, Washington on IR. He already has Kenny G in the starting lineup, Deuce does, which is going to be a problem. So there's definitely a universe here where Sean could easily win this one. And Deuce really doesn't look like the impenetrable force that we made him out to be in the offseason. For Sean, I think it really comes down to, are you making the right quarterback decisions with Matty Ice versus Jimmy G? I'm not saying you're right or wrong with what you have right now with Matty Ice starting, but I think that's always going to be a challenge week to week because both of them are fairly mediocre. Next up, it's Maple Leaf importance. So both of these teams 2-1, second meeting already this year. Lucas took the first one week 1 in a shocker. You can see the career records were 1 game away back then, and they're 1 game away here again in week 4. Lucas is 6-4 lifetime versus Milan. So obviously deep history between the two teams heading into their 11th meeting here of the year. Looking at what Co had for this matchup, he had the 6 winning this one. And for myself, when I look at what I had, I actually have Lucas and Green Lightning winning this one. So once again, Co and myself are opposite. It does seem like I am picking a fair amount of upsets this week based on the projections I'm seeing. And of course, I said I wouldn't let Thursday influence my decisions, but Samaji Perine put up a, excuse me, a dud against Miami there on Thursday with only 0.1 for Lucas, whereas obviously T. Higgins put up 30 flat against Miami in that one for the 6. And, Herbert's on the mend. They are playing Houston, but, you can't overlook anyone in the NFL. Of course, I said Thursday I wouldn't let it influence. I'm going to still say Lucas in this one, but it's definitely trending towards Milan in the 6th victory, especially since Keenan Allen is out once again for Lucas. And we get to the game of the week, and what a thriller. 2 international owners that just continue to show how good and competitive they are in this league. Eric is one of the only undefeated teams left, 3-0. Dushan, 2-1. These teams met already. It's the second meeting. Very important one. Look at that record for Eric, 30-13. Are you kidding? Like, Architect's a great owner. We all know that, but he's 31-25 lifetime. Eric's 30-13. Like, that's insane. Obviously, these teams came in at the same time and already have played. Now this will be their 8th meeting. Eric's up 4-3 on the lifetime matchup. And I think it's going to be a thriller. It's going to be close. Myself, I originally picked Subotica Spartans to win this one. I'm going to stick with it. Cole also picked Subotica Spartans to win this one. So I'm assuming he's definitely going to stay with that as well. Let's face it. I said Jalen Hurts to Subotica, and Jalen Hurts is a top quarterback. But looking at the other side, it's Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson's been brilliant looking for the new money and the contract. All of us should have saw that coming. Lamar looking for the big money, and he was going to have a big year. Sueños had him for a while, and obviously it's going to pay off. I also heard Tennessee wants to get Treylon Burks more involved, which is only going to help Sueño. And James Robinson looks like he is the RB1 in Jacksonville, which obviously sucks for me because they have ETN. ETN's still going to get points because he is more of a receiving back, but there's no doubt about it. James Robinson's proved a lot coming off that injury. I think this one's going to be super close. I think the difference for Subotica Spartans is going to be Michael Pittman, hopefully another game healthier. Fryermuth responding from not such a great week there last week against Cleveland. And I think Adam Thielen will also produce some points as well in London there. So I'm going to give it to Subotica Spartans, and so is Cole. So I hope you guys enjoyed the preview, and look forward to seeing you all again next time.